that the right side on campus thing there?
Look at that, man. We're professionals.
Is that on your computer or is that like a sign?
And we are live, guys.
All right, cool. What's up, everybody? We're back. The right side of campus is here. It is Wednesday, and that only means one thing, Donnie. The dynamic duo is back. The right side of campus, basically a look into college basketball as a whole. We'll talk about everything going on today. We'll talk about conference tournaments. We're talking about bracket busters. We're talking about bubble teams. Everything we got going on, we're going to break it all down for you. I am, Donnie, I'm just going to say it. I'm the king of these small schools. I'm the king. Come at me. You best not miss. That's all.
Look, I'm ready to really DM you and say, you know what? How much is it for your package? I need to get on board. Even though I already have the place, I feel like I have to chime in. And a big technological advantage I have now is I actually can see the live chat. I know a lot of people out there younger than me. I'm just about 40 years old. You know, I got Jeff by at least, 10, 15 years here, but I can see the live chat today, fellas. Big news.
Well, good. We're looking forward to knowing that you know that now. Now you can interrupt me when I'm in the middle of stuff. But yeah, Donnie, quick, back to the weekend. I know we've discussed how we watch games here. And, I want you to kind of just talk about that for a moment once more.
Yeah, I mean, again, we are gamblers, and we always preface it, and I know you'll see it on the playback and stuff. Everybody is superstitious, and I know that segment went over well the other night because we're all the same with type of gambling. Let's go back to Saturday night. Me and Jeff peg a game that we love. Western Illinois IPFW. It's the only game I gave out to my clients. I loved it. The pace was fantastic.
Actually, let me just say one thing. Yeah. You called me and said, I love this total. And I said, okay, well, I'll look into it. And then you kind of won me over with it.
Yep, and it worked out in the end, but here's the way me and Jeff like to flow. This is a Saturday night where I'm watching IPFW over all those top 20 games on the board. The flow is perfect. There's about 4.5 minutes to go, and the total is about 151. I get a Skype call from Big Man, and he says, hey, you got a minute to talk. I said, whoa, this game's not over yet, even though we got 4 points to go in 5 minutes, and I get a diatribe on there with the phone ring. It said, pick up the phone, you got the winner. I am superstitious when it comes down the stretch. It's just the way it is.
I'm trying to talk to you about a late game. You're bothering me. You're saying, oh, we might go over. Bro, we need 4 points in 5 minutes. Get over yourself.
Don't call me till it's over.
Stop, dude. Come on. Sometimes you just know when a game's going to be a winner. And I think we all knew at half that game was a winner. I mean, that game was – they just couldn't miss. Both teams were just back and forth, blah, 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 blah. But I get it. Everybody.
You had the same thing last night. Talk about that one.
Oh, yeah. I had one of my premiums was Lafayette plus the 10.5 against Loyola. And here's the problem in small schools. When you're up 5 at half, shooting 52%, it's probably not going to last the whole game. It's just not going to. Yeah. And I knew that patented run was coming from Loyola, Maryland. I knew it. They're at home. They're the better seed. I knew the run was coming. And I'm just like, come on, man, don't do this to me. Don't get blitzed 31-16 in the second half and we lose. But it was a wall-to-wall winner. It was something that I really want to break down with the guys today on the chat and kind of show you how you can get a lot of value in these conferences just by looking at them for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Jeff, also, let me get your take on the congratulatory tweet or DM when the game's not over yet. Do you have a take on that?
I hate it. Dude, I hate that. Last night, and I love all the listeners. They're so great. They're awesome. Yeah. Most of them, other than, the trolls make me laugh, but everyone else is great. But I can't stand, I have to preface this. I hate when people say to me, when a game's got 7 minutes left and you're up 19, laying 13. Great pick, big man. What a winner.
Yep. And on the reverse side last night, I'm hiding from the shrapnel of my Florida State +7 play. And at the end of the game, it goes in reverse. Great call. We got this one. I said, hey, sometimes it is a little bit better to be lucky than actually cap the game exactly the way you want it. But that shrapnel goes both ways on that end.
Hey, I'll tell you what. They're up 10 with a minute left, Duke. You shouldn't have won that game.
Yeah. How many times do you see that last-second dunk where you go into a cold sweat because you lost? What a beautiful ending for me and my players.
How about Oklahoma State? And Iowa State. I know the boys over at Sportsbook. They had a nice backdoor with that one with Juwan Evans hitting that 3. But yeah, just some brutal stuff. I will preface this. My dear friend Ryan, Ryan, he had a question last night on my podcast. What annoys you about society the most? And one of them was, and I was thinking in my head, I didn't manage to say it. Premature ejaculations over wins early. Let's just wait till the fat lady sings or the
Wait
big
till they
man.
tell you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But let's jump into tonight, obviously, Donnie. And listeners, feel free. Send in any questions you have on the games tonight, anything in the future you want us to look at. A lot to do here. Obviously, it's very important, people, to make and be well aware of what you're betting on, what situation they're in. Do they need the game? Do they not need the game? Senior night, big myth in college basketball. I think that's one big thing. I'm big on senior night in certain situations, but in some situations, it doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot. Sometimes team just isn't very good. And you really have to look at, does a team need the game? Do they care about the game? Most teams, the clock is turned on to March. They're ready to head into the conference tournaments and really just looking to get them started.
Yeah, I mean, even that's a great point, big man. If you look even at the lower level schools with the way they were finishing up last week, case in point last night, Miami of Ohio and Akron, one of the biggest blowouts talent-wise you can see on paper.
Yep.
And you would think a senior night, that means something to those seniors at Akron. I think Cheatham and Johnson were playing their last game ever there, or at least the last regular season game. They get beat outright by the worst team in the MAC. I believe the closing line, Jeff, somewhere around 15.
I was skeptical to lay a number like that, not only in conference in the middle of January, but late in the year either. Akron has not played well. They really need to refocus and get prepared for this conference tournament because I got to tell you, I'm not a big fan of the MAC, and as a whole, there are a lot of teams that can win that conference. Would you be surprised, Donnie, if Eastern Michigan ran the gamut and won that conference?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And it's kind of an interesting dichotomy in this conference, Jeff, as you well know. The early rounds are played typically on the home floor in the MAC, and then they graduate to the later rounds where they head over to the Q in Cleveland.
Yeah. So, again, guys, kind of the premise of today's show, get into some of the stuff going on today, and then we'll kind of wrap it up about the small schools. You need to be here for the small school talk. It is going to be stellar stuff. Donnie, you also have the MAAC tournament starting tomorrow up in Albany. You have some, for the first day of the year, Don, some early basketball. You got Big South tomorrow. You got Campbell, UNC Asheville, 1 o'clock Eastern. How about that? But let's jump into some of the games tonight. We also will have a play of the day, a consensus play of the day. I didn't get it all out last week, but I think we all well knew I like Toledo Friday night in that game. They get the wall-to-wall cover. Easy winner there to give out our first play of the day. So let's keep it going. We'll answer questions as well. Where are we going to start, Donnie? What games are we want to starting to look at? We do have a point here quickly. How weak is Kentucky? Won't get to the Sweet 16. I don't know, though. I mean, listen, they're probably one of the more talented teams in the country as far as athleticism, as far as sheer talent above.
Look, I mean, Jeff, I agree with your point on that same thing there. I like the way they're playing down the stretch. And I think one of the key missing ingredients here is heading into the SEC. If you heard me a couple of weeks back, even on the roundtable, I was big on Florida in that conference. Florida's still a very good team, but Florida needed their big man, Igbunu, down the stretch. He's no longer there. Jeff, I have UK now as the SEC leader heading into the SEC tournament, and that's only going to ramp up their bracket, ramp up their seeding in order to make a run. I'm buying them a little bit more than I was a couple of weeks ago.
Listen, from a point spread perspective, I'm not interested in them. From a sheer just having to win perspective, I'm pretty high on them. I will admit, though, I think they'll get to the Sweet 16, but I got to admit, I don't think they're a long-term team. I don't think they have the team to, the Cals had in the past. Defensively, I think they have some issues at times. And if Malik Monk goes silent, they go silent. They were lost in the first half last night against Vanderbilt.
Yeah, a good team in the tournament, big man. You're right. I mean, are you going to get down double digits in the tournament to a very good ball club and come back on the road, not in your own environment? Right. I agree. Skeptical the way that Kentucky's playing. Do they have the talent to get all the way? I mean, of course they do, but I just don't think this is one of Cal's, premier teams here.
And that kind of vaults us into tonight's conversation. Obviously, last night, Vanderbilt, a team that needed to win the basketball game, they didn't. I had them plus the points. I thought that was way too many points. Yeah. Definitely in a series that has come down to the wire. When you get desperation, you got to go with desperation time and time again. You look at tonight, obviously, a plethora of bubble teams on the card. Let's kind of just jump into some of them here. Auburn, Georgia, early on here. I think a lot of people look at that one and say, well, I'm not interested without Leonte Maton. J.J. Frazier is a man. He is a great player. He's a kid that can put them on his back. They need this one bad at home. Listen, Auburn is a nice team. Out of conference, some of those small tournaments I was interested. They were very up-tempo, young team. They're going to be good down the road. This year, though, with a desperate Georgia team, am I crazy about laying 5? Not particularly, but I'm
Yeah.
just not. I'm not interested in fading Georgia right now. I like Frazier a whole hell of a lot, and Auburn has really struggled on the defensive end.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with that point as well. If you're looking at this game on the whole, you try to find some additives in there other than Georgia has an outside chance of getting into the tournament if they make a run, deep into the SEC tournament as well. It is senior night tonight, and I know you love J.J. Frazier. He's going to get one of his last send-offs there. But again, we can't preface it enough. We talk each and every night that, take it back 2 weeks. You might love this card tonight, but there's so many odds and ends that bear into each and every game. Who really needs it? I mean, is Auburn really excited about going on the road and playing Georgia? It's not Kentucky. It's not Florida. They're just looking to get to the SEC tournament healthy by all means. Georgia really needs this win. Is it one of the games I'm looking for that I want to play tonight? No, but there's no way I'm backing Auburn on the road here in this spot.
Yeah, I agree with you. Again, we go back to the old adage, just because they need to win doesn't mean they're going to. And I think this could very well be a case where, it could come down to the wire. They just are looking to get out of there with a win. I'm not crazy about this one as an ATS game.
Yeah.
This one, I really just think they have to win. But I'm not betting Auburn here either. So for me, I'm not interested in that one really. A couple more here. A lot of talk about Tennessee LSU, a game that I'd rather watch knitting, to be honest.
Johnny
really?
Jones going out. I mean, is it one last stand for the head coach here with Johnny Jones? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, this is a football school at this point. No one cares about basketball at LSU. Hell, I'm sure baseball is probably bigger down there right now than basketball. Yeah. This is a good point by Mark here or Cuban. I think that's Mark Cuban B. It's a dark time for LSU basketball. That's a great point. I mean, it really is. This team is lost. They have no leadership whatsoever. I'm not crazy though about Tennessee. No. You know that, Don. I hate Tennessee. This is a game I would look far the hell away from. Just not into it. 529, 530, Michigan Northwestern.
Yeah, let's get into that one for Oliver.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Obviously, Northwestern, I think, squarely in the field. I think both these teams are squarely in the field. A lot of interesting line movement. Northwestern opened 1. Michigan just moved up to -1. So I think the markets are very high on Northwestern. I'm hearing a lot of love with this Northwestern team. Michigan's not a great road team. This is one of those games where does it really mean much at all to either of these teams? I mean,
I don't think so. The one point on that, big man, I want to bring up, and I want to get your point of view on this and maybe give it to the listeners as well. Everybody's good feel-good stories, Northwestern. It's been so long, not making the tournament, and how many years has it been? They're sort of on a little bit of skid heading down the stretch. I know Scotty Lindsey's been out. There's no bad loss to end the season if you lose to Michigan and Purdue. My question to you, big man, if they lose both of those games and drop to 9-9 in a questionable Big Ten, and let's just say they get upset round 1 in the tournament, is that feel-good story pop, or do you think they're still automatically in on that one?
Listen, if I was deciding who's in the tournament, I don't think that Northwestern is that impressive.
Are we excited about them even if they get in? Like, oh, Northwestern, great story, but come on.
Because I look at all their step-up games, other than Dayton, basically, in out of conference, they lost. I mean, you lost to Notre Dame, you lost to Butler, you lost to Michigan State, who that's a questionable loss. Minnesota is questionable for sure.
Illinois beat them twice.
That's a bad loss. I'm not that impressed with them, and especially I think you make a good point about in the tournament. They're a feel-good story for sure, but this conference is bad. They're not very good, and I think going into this thing, they're always Chris Collins a good coach, that kind of thing. But I'm going to look to, in the first round, definitely fade Northwestern. Yeah. I don't know how good they really are. I've been very down on the Big Ten this year. I've made that clear. And I just don't think out of conference they've done anything very impressive, to be honest. Yeah. I think with if this was like a strong bubble year or a strong mid-major year, Northwestern would probably be on the bubble still at this point.
Or they would have to run the table beating Michigan and Purdue. They're both at home, albeit, so, maybe even, favored to a point, as you said tonight with Michigan, but I own them. I mean, 2 straight losses. Indiana's no great team. Who's Illinois? And okay, so you beat Rutgers. You beat them at home by 4 points. And if you watch that game, that was the game Doug Collins literally couldn't even show his face. It was that close down the stretch.
Right. And look, their goal is to really just play fantastic defense. They're not going to blow you away offensively. I don't know. This is a tough game. I'm pretty high on Michigan personally. I think Michigan has some of the tools that can really propel them and win a conference like this. especially if they kind of continue to get hot shooting. Derek Walton has become a fantastic guard and a guy that I want the ball to have the ball late in games. And Wagner's become kind of a cult hero in Ann Arbor, a young kid from Germany, kind of really raw kind of possibilities. Yeah, I would go with Michigan here personally.
Hey, Jeff, we got somebody on the box there, and I know this is a hot button. Is Utah State -4.5 UNLV? Give me your thoughts on that one.
I would be honest with you. I'd rather waterboard myself than bet on that game personally.
I'll tell you the funny part about that is UNLV. I was on their train a little bit a couple weeks ago, and Big Man will remember. I had them in a spot with New Mexico where, maybe UNLV could turn the corner. New Mexico's without their best player. They were terrible in that and been an absolute fade since then. They didn't even show up in their last game versus Nevada at home. It was a matter of how many points Nevada wanted to hang on them. They could have had 125 on them, beat them by damn near 50 points in that one. So I see the -4.5 on that. I'm not going to be on that game or cap it, but I like your style on that one. Get rid of UNLV. They just, that ship has sailed, and I mean sailed like the Titanic to the bottom of the Atlantic.
Marvin Menzies is a very good coach. I think he'll get them righted at some point in a pretty decent market there. But right now, they're another.
How does that happen, Big Man? They don't even compete. It's not even like that's been a strong conference this year. They don't even show up at home and even stay within double digits.
Yeah, I mean, the issue there has just kind of been you get no stops and you don't play any defense. So, or you don't play any offense. So, that's a bad kind of recipe. And look, they've lost 12 of 15 against the spread in conference. So that's not going to win you very many games. That's a tough conference out there, the Big or the Mountain West. That's another total toss up as far as for me, what I think, who knows who's going to win. I could see a San Diego State, kind of the old guard. I like Nevada with their transfers. Who the hell really knows out there? Another interesting game tonight, Donnie, for bubble purposes, Xavier Marquette, big East here. Both these teams in the field, according to Joe Lunardi's last bracketology. This is a huge game, very huge. I was kind of surprised to still see Xavier still kind of relevant. And with all the injuries they've had, with all the kind of the issues, Miles Davis, and just some tough luck losses. But again, Marquette, I mean, they've are another team squarely on the bubble. Both these teams struggle at times from the defensive end. I would probably look over the total in this game, to be honest. It could come down to the wire. Points might be valuable here. I'll let these two slug it out. I don't think they're going to do anything long term. So for me, it's kind of a game that's pointless. But for these two teams, they need to have it. So
I mean, if you're heading down the stretch, the one thing that makes me nervous as a gambler is you always get back to the smartest man in the room as the guy making the odds. Xavier has dropped 5 straight games, but if you really get into it, there's not really a bad loss in there. I mean, you're talking Nova, Providence, Marquette, Seton Hall, and Butler, and you say, hey, maybe they should have beat them. 3 of those games are on the road, and it's tough to win in that type of environment unless you're truly an elite team. Coming home into this game as a favorite, I believe they're sitting anywhere between 2 to 3 points at this point. That's the only thing that's scaring me away a little bit. I like the way Marquette plays. They bomb from anywhere, and if their 3-pointers are on, it's just watch out. They played a tough, hard-fought game versus Providence in the previous one. I'm just a little bit leery, Big Man, of why this line is -3, even though most of the money is on Marquette. I would agree with you, though. I would lean towards the over in this one more than a side here.
Yeah, Marquette crushed them in the first game by 21, or 22, I'm sorry. But, I mean, Xavier right now, 0-5 straight up, last 5. Really have had issues covering games. I'm not crazy about laying 3 with them here in this spot. I don't think Xavier's any good. I've said that all year. I think they're poor. I don't like Kevin or their coach. I forget his name, Mack, I believe, Chris Mack. I'm not a big fan of his. I don't like Xavier. My play here would probably be the over, but I would probably go Marquette money line, to be really honest with you. One other one, again, it's a bubble game for sure for a bubble team. I don't know how far it'll go tonight. Obviously, it'd be a horrible loss if you haven't. You have to win this game. Rhode Island needs to go in and send a message to St. Joe's. St. Joe's, it's been an ugly year for Phil Martelli's crew. A myriad of injuries to high-profile players. Rhode Island has played good basketball lately. They've won 3 in a row. They need to set a tone and go in and hammer St. Joe's. So Davidson is a big one to end the year. They should get in with their late season play. They need to go in and set the tone tonight, I think.
Yeah, that's one of mine. I haven't opened the top of the list, haven't fired on that game, but right now I'm really leaning towards Rhode Island in this situation. They have to put the pedal to the metal. At this point, again, we talk about situations. If this game was a couple weeks back and you say, hey, that's a sleepy place, we're going to win. Let's just roll the basketball out. And if we're in a close game, we'll pull it out at the end. There are no, looking back at this one. They have to win at St. Joe's. They have to win at Davidson. They have turned the corner. After that Fordham game we talked about, big man, about a week and a half ago, at George Mason, nice win. At LaSalle, wasn't even a test. And banging with VCU at home in a must-win situation. I don't see any letdown here. I see a double-digit win here as of right now against St. Joe. I like where your thoughts are on that one. They have to win this game, and it can't be a close one. You got to put them away and look forward to Davidson and make that charge toward the tournament.
And they faced each other earlier this year, and Rhode Island couldn't miss. I mean, they were on fire. Yep. I like Rhode Island. I like their starting five, particularly Hassan Martin, E.C. Matthews, Karan Iverson, well coached as well with Hurley there. Mm-hmm. The one thing I like about the Hurleys is whether it's Arizona State, whether it's Rhode Island, whether it's St. Benedict's or St. Anthony up in North Jersey, they're well prepared. They take the game seriously. They don't come in lax. They always take it and play hard. So for those, definitely the bubble games, I don't know how much value on tonight's card there is. I thought last night Georgia Tech was a really good play. That's why I made it a premium. They had to have that one. But tonight, the only game that I would really kind of be interested in as far as a side perspective would probably be Marquette. I think they really have a team in Xavier who I think is on the ropes, Don. I think they just need to get knocked out. And I think tonight the nail in the coffin will go in to X's coffin tonight. You would agree with that, right? You have to kind of take the nail in the coffin.
It's just kind of odd. I mean, I won't be on this game, but I do see your point of view and perspective there. I'm just wondering, on a 5-game losing streak, and again, we get back to the senior night edge. There's no real emotion here on senior night for Xavier. I mean, Blewett's probably going to go to the NBA, but he's not a true senior. These aren't, 3 to 4, which I'm going to talk about in the game a little bit later in the A10 about what a senior night's going to mean. I don't see that here. They have to win the ball game. I get that. But again, there's no ulterior motives here on why Xavier is going to have some, rise up and go grab this game.
Now, Don, I know you're a big fan of fading what looks too good to be true. Yes. And I think I have one here for us. And I think
let's get it.
I want to shout out to Jay, who's a listener of the show. He's always on here. I don't think you can get a better spot or a more flat spot tonight than 535, 536.
Which one is that one? I don't have the.
Why does George Washington give a shit about a late season game at Fordham?
Come on, man. Cena and Watanabe out there? It's going to be a huge game.
Yeah, I'm sure they care, right?
No, I completely agree with you in that situation. I mean, it's one of those where, they're playing well down the stretch. It's not an at-large bid. You're really playing to get into the conference tournament. Fordham, I mean, for much as you say that, most people don't know about Fordham, still a tough place to play to go in the Rose Hill and get a win there. I agree with you here. I'd lean towards Fordham.
And the thing about New York games is, I think what sets them apart of different games is there's more monotony in the road trip as opposed to if you go to, I don't know, Ames, Iowa, it's a straight shot. There's not a lot of, New York is just a lot of traffic, a lot of random things going on, a lot of, I'm sure you got a lot of monotony, I guess you could say. I don't know. I don't like fading Fordham at home. It's just not something I like to do. I don't think George Washington, they're kind of ready to kind of just move on. I don't really think this game's going to mean a whole hell of a lot. And I like what I've seen.
Smoked by Richmond too as well. So I mean that also is going to feed into it where you got to get right before heading into tournament play.
And again, I mean, you look at Fordham. I mean, last 5 games, 56 points a game they're giving up. Yeah. I definitely think in this spot, this is a dead spot. I think the squares will definitely look to just say, "Oh, George Washington, they're only going to do is win tonight."
Yep.
I'll take the home dog here.
Yeah, not much playing for anybody in that one. I agree on that.
So let's kind of move into some of the rest of the card here. As far as some of the smaller schools, some of the conference tournaments, we'll take a question or two and then wrap it up here. Obviously tonight you have OVC starting. They're starting off down in Nashville. I think it's a really cool conference. I like the OVC. Obviously Belmont, the big team down there, the number 1 seed. I've mentioned I think Tennessee State's a very live team if they can get past Southeast Missouri. But I think one team that now with looking at the bracket, I think Murray State, it really sets up for them nicely. If they can get a win tonight against Tennessee Tech, we have to understand Murray State is in the bottom side of the bracket. So if they get to the next round, they would face Tennessee Martin. They wouldn't have to face Belmont until the final game. I think with Murray, really good offense. If they can copiously score and defend just a little bit, I think offensively they're just better than all the other teams in this conference. Don't be surprised to see at 9-1 a Murray State get to that final game. You might have a nice hedging opportunity if they can get to the final game. Don, as far as tonight, Murray laying 3.5 at Tennessee Tech. Tennessee Tech, not a team that I really am crazy about backing. They haven't been very good this year.
Yeah.
I think this is a pretty good spot for the Racers. If they can just get a stop or two, they should be able to control tempo. And they should be able to get out of there with a 6 to 10 point victory, I think.
One key thing here I do like, big man, on this game is they came in. I think you're going to get a decent price on Murray State just because they lost 3 straight games heading into the tournament. So it might be somebody looking to fade them, saying they're not playing well down the stretch. Sometimes when you take value, you got to take that in your hands and see exactly what that is. Murray State, as we talked about before, they're going to travel well. They're going to have their fans there. That's a blue blood team in the Ohio Valley. So I would definitely look to them. And a lot of people, Tennessee Tech is not the same team as Tennessee State. If you're not looking at that conference, you might flip those teams and get those confused. This is not the better version of the Tennessee State, which is obviously in the same conference.
Right. A lot of Tennessee teams. That's one thing about college basketball. You have to make sure you're looking at the right team. This is an interesting game. I think some of the other ones you look at down in the America East, and this is one thing I wanted to point out. You look at the discrepancies in these added games as far as the lines that they're putting out. You look at these bookmakers. I think they're totally lost as far as the lines they're putting out for some of these games. You look at last night in the Big South Conference. I mean, you had a team at Campbell who is a pretty decent team offensively. They're facing Presbyterian, who's obviously one of the worst teams in the country and rated that low. Why is that line only 13? But you look at Maine tonight, who, again, Maine's not good. But, I mean, if you look at the Vermont, I mean, what is their motivation to win by 25 tonight?
No, I like the same
really,
big man. I mean, it's survive and move on. Does it matter if you win by 25 or 10 points? Do you want your star player twisting an ankle in the last 3 minutes? I agree with you on that point. By the way, listeners on the chat box, just to cut in for you, Jeff, the UCLA game tonight, I mean, a breakdown of that, it's, 23, 22 and a half. Markelle Fultz is probably not going to play in this one. You would normally look to an over because UCLA and Washington, nobody's really going to play in the defense. But what advantage do you even have in this game late? I see more UCLA covering, but do they give a damn if they're up 70-40, let's say 10 minutes to go, when they're not really playing for anything and, jockeying for position, so to speak, down the stretch in the Pac-12 and heading into the tournament? I see this as a complete no play. Would I lean towards a UCLA blowout? Yes, but what do they really have to play for? You got any thoughts on that for them, big man?
I don't think this is one of those dead spots that I don't really, they're going out to Washington State.
Coming off an Arizona win too. I mean, what's their motivation is right.
Right. Heading into this tournament. Yeah. I don't, again, I think a lot of people will gravitate towards UCLA due to the fact that Markelle Fultz has been injured. And, I'm actually kind of wondering how injured he really is. Is that, I just don't want to.
They're not, Washington's going nowhere. And he knows the big ticket prize is don't blow my knee out and I'm going to be the number one pick. He's sitting out basically just, riding it out.
Sure. And one other thing on that America East, that is notorious, that conference, for high spreads. I mean, they put big numbers out. And that was kind of my point on the line perspective. I think the teams in the Big South, some of those Longwoods, Presbyterians, they're way worse than, Binghamton and Hartford. I mean, I just don't really see how you can lay some of these numbers. Now, look, Vermont on paper should win 96-63 or something. But, I mean, again, for what it's worth, after the whole thing with Maine, the whole fight in the locker room and the broken jaw and everything, they actually played pretty well and beat Binghamton.
I can't believe they won. I texted you that this morning, just going over some numbers on that. I can't believe they gathered it all together. They're a terrible team as it is without their best player and a couple backups, and they somehow scrounged up and beat Binghamton, which really raised an eye.
And Sharps are on Maine in this game. I mean, this line opened 25. It's down to 23.5. Sharps like the dog here. One more thing, and we'll get the play of the day and then end the show. MAC tomorrow. Nice start, get some early basketball. I think we all agreed this is going to be a pretty competitive conference as far as I think there's three or four teams that can definitely win this one. Obviously, St. Peter's comes in really hot against the spread. They're going to be good against spread. I think Siena, we mentioned on the roundtable yesterday, they're going to be a good ATS team. the big flyers in this one, Monmouth. Didn't win it last year, didn't get into the tournament. I think they have a lot of unfinished business. They have a lot of seniors on this team. I do like St. Peter's a lot. That defense is fierce.
They travel. They're road warriors, and you can tell by against the spread, not only home and also away. We talked about it yesterday there on the round table. If you're looking for a long shot, and Ken Pom put it at 2% chance to win that conference. Now, again, I'm not talking about actually winning the conference. I'm talking from a betting perspective and making money. I'm going to put a little bit on Ryder here. If they can get a win or two, you can very easily hedge them out for a profit and put it in your pocket. I like the chalk in this conference. I think Monmouth is the best team in this conference from top to bottom. Iona is one of those teams that can make a run. They're talented. They have the best player in the conference with Washington. He's a unique individual. If you haven't seen Iona play a lot, they play inside and out. Amazing three-ball game, but also have that dominant big man down there. But they tend to come up small. I agree with you on that, but if you're in a one-game spot, big man, they can grab it.
Dude, they don't play any defense. They don't. I can't get into them ever. I don't know why. Again, I know a lot of these teams don't play a lot of defense in this conference, but you're right. I mean, they do have Jordan Washington, who is a total man down low, but I don't know.
Hoops I just want it down there. You got Ryder in Manhattan tomorrow, 86-71 Hoops. I like your style, man.
Yeah, no, he's right. I like that as well. Don, let's kind of wrap it up. Obviously, we don't want to sit on here for 3 hours. Guys, again, I will have the Big Men on Campus podcast today, 5 o'clock Eastern. We'll get into all the games that we didn't get into on here. Ian Cameron's going to join me, an SBR contributor and a guy that many know on SBR. He'll join me at 5 o'clock Eastern. My friend, dear friend Ryan will join me as well. Donnie, play of the day time. And we do like to do a play of the day just because it kind of gives the listeners a checks and balance system and allows them to play a game that we're both pretty high on. And we're going to attack games that most don't look at. Tonight we're going to go with the Wagner Seahawks minus 4.5 against Fairleigh Dickinson. In this conference, the Northeast Conference, all the higher seeds play at home. You look at this Florida or Fairleigh Dickinson team, Don. Struggling right now is an understatement on the road. This team has lost 8 of 9 overall. Defensively, they've had major issues. And look, I just think Wagner's a team that, particularly in this conference, maybe could surprise. They're definitely a top 3 seed in this conference for a reason. And what's so crazy about Wagner, their top player, Ramon Saunders, went down in the first game of the year. They beat UConn. He went down with a broken foot, has not played the whole year, and they still have really played well up there in Staten Island. I think the rowdy boys up there on the South Shore are high and ready to go tonight. I like Wagner minus 4.5, your play of the day on the show here.
Yeah, well, I agree with that. Just to piggyback off that, coming down the stretch, I do like hot teams coming in, winning 7 of 9. Take a look at their losses, Jeff. Robert Morris by 2 points, and LIU Brooklyn, who we're both high on, took them to overtime and lost. So hot team coming down the stretch versus a very cold team at home. 5-6, double-digit win, not out of the picture. Wagner's going to be your play today, folks.
I'm not sure if Jesse Williams listened to the same show as us. Did we not talk about UCLA?
I don't even know why we even had to talk a ton about it. I mean, hey, I love Lonzo Ball. I'm a Sixer fan. I hope they get Lonzo Ball.
Yeah, I hate him.
Has 70-40 at one point in this game. And do they really want to stretch it and max it out and get to 102 points and beat them 102-75? I would lean UCLA here, but I don't think there's much to break down. No Markelle Fultz. Washington not playing for anything. UCLA not really even playing for anything and just looking to put on a show. They might just come out, street ball it up. If you're asking me right now, I would take UCLA, but I don't know who cares in that game.
This is a glorified all-star game, these games, this game here. And then next game against Washington State as well. As always, thank you guys, as always, for joining us. Great panel, as always, with all the guys on here. Donnie, my man, appreciate it, as always. We'll be back Friday with another edition of The Right Side of Campus. Feel free, guys, DM us. Let us know what you want to see on the show. Let us know what you want us to talk about. We kind of are just open books. We'll talk about anything. We want to kind of attack cards and places on the card where maybe anyone else isn't looking. I think Donnie and I both present a great small school strategy. So feel free, Donnie. Why don't you plug it up quickly where we can find you if anyone hasn't found you yet?
Yeah, DonnieRightside.com. But come catch me on Twitter at RightSideVP. I'm going to be me and Jeff. Jeff knows I'm a huge A10 fan. Tonight is like my game of the year. I mean, not betting-wise, but just watching-wise. I'm going to be all over Dayton and VCU live tweeting that one. I'm going to be tweeting out some stats as we go during the day. It really is a do-or-die situation. Senior night, the big boys, you got Cook, Pollard, Smith, Davis, all going out on top in a rabid environment, a circle the wagons type game. Come holler at me on Twitter. We'll talk and go back and forth. But again, big man, it's going to be a lot of fun.
I mentioned last night on my podcast, I like Dayton long term. They are one team that I think is going to be there late in this tournament. Year after year, they're there. Thanks as always to Justin for being on the outside producing the show. We'll be back Friday, guys. Get on Wagner tonight, minus the 4.5. Your play of the day. Have a great day, guys. We'll see you.
Take care, fellas. Thank you.
Bye. We're still live here, I think.
Yeah, give us that little background talk here.
Yeah, let's just talk background.
Yeah, give out your premium play right now for all the listeners still tuning in for you right there.
Well, I'm on fire, so they should definitely want to listen to them. I got 2 of them tonight. So. I sent you the one we were talking about. I didn't want to. Yeah. I didn't want to give it out, but we're still live. I don't know if he went. I think he went. He might have went away from the computer or something. I don't know.
No, that's all right. We'll just keep on flowing. But anyway, I mean, the listeners know, like, I am big on this A10 game tonight. I don't know how much wagering style. I have a feel for that one, but you know me. I love that conference, that little box environment.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a great game as far as, a lot of seniors. You have, listen, they're the 2 best teams in the conference. That's the big thing, though. Does the game really mean anything in the scheme of things? That's my thing on it. And that's why, for me,
I take a pride in that. I mean, when you win the outright, A10, and especially against that rivalry, you saw it last game. Because, I mean, I was even on the that game, bet the game last time. No, I think Dayton had like 4 or 3 straight 3-point plays in under a minute. Right. When a lot of the clients had 5 and got a push out of that when they should have won that game being up 10 with about a minute.
For me, laying a number like that in that kind of game, I don't know.
Numbers going down too. It was 5? I think it's down to 4 in some places here, maybe even a little bit less.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, as far as what I like, and for me, I don't know. I considered honestly, dude, I think Maine covers. I don't know how you can lay that. Now I know Vermont's rolling, but at some point, I mean. Got to get a little rest, I think, and, what's your motivation, to really care about, By
the way, we need to get into BC and Notre Dame tonight. That might be a little bit of
I'd be on the over.
A 3-point bombing in that one. Were you on the over last time in that one?
Yeah.
Easy. So halftime was, I think
because of the tempo.
BC was hanging with them too.
Our buddy was at the game, remember?
Yeah. What do we got? Still chat box still hot on here? What do we got on here? We'll get this little extended version time in here. We got
Richmond. Feel free. I mean, we're still live, so I guess we can still keep going. I guess who really cares, right? Yeah. I guess Justin, let us know when we're going off here. We don't want to just end it, but this is kind of fun,
Yeah, freewheeling right now.
Yeah, and we're live right now, just talking about
Richmond UMass. Now I know you had an interesting point on that one there. Just I told you last night I was feeling a little Richmond. You're like, no, stay away.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that's kind of a dead spot, man. To be honest, and Richmond, I think. I don't know, on the road, kind of off that big blowout win, I don't know.
I'm always a big fan of Spiders there. That's a fun tournament. That is a fun. I really enjoy A10, CAA, all that stuff heading down the stretch.
It was good. Yeah. When it was in AC, it was good, the A10. But now it's
now Pittsburgh now on that
Pittsburgh. One. Yeah. Any live dogs, I'm leaning.
There you go. There you go. Look at Guan typing in. Right up your wheelhouse, Jeff.
Yeah, I got to stay off that one, Guan. Get at me off the chat box. Arkansas, Those
games do nothing for me tonight. Even like Jeff, when we talk about like the TCUs, the Texas Techs, the Kansas States. I mean,
what did I tell you? What did I tell you earlier today? I told you half these games. Well, actually, 70% of these games are fluff. I could care less about them.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it.
I don't see anything. But again, I love it when they tweet out in there because you know how hot I get over UNLV in their games. I love seeing that come up on the chat box. It made me laugh, man.
Dude, you love UNLV. Stop playing.
Worst team I ever seen. And I have to win by like 1 point on the over. How does one team get like, I think it was either 95 or 96 points in like a 150 over, and I'm sweating the game out. Is unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
I love how people still think we're still in the air, but we're not on there. We like all closed everything. Right yeah, we're just like, it's like behind the scenes, like you know how they do like when Breaking Bad was on, they would do like after the show and like they would talk about what happened on the show. That's kind of what we're doing now. When's Kentucky's luck going to run out? We talked about that. Listen to the show over. Thank you, Big Man and Donnie. Appreciate it. Thanks, Joe. Joe's from Upper Darby. Shout out to UD.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, okay.
69th Street. I've been over there plenty of times.
What's a good pizza spot up there? It's man, always talk about it on the radio. It's not Tacanelli's.
Dude, I go to Lorenzo's, so I don't really care.
Lorenzo and Sons, boy. Is it rebuilt down on South Street still or no? I remember it burnt down on fire.
It's on like 9th and Christian, it's it's on Christian Street, like right on 10th and 9th Street.
Yeah. Dude, how about that UConn and ECU, Jeff? That moving your wires?
No. You want to talk about pizza or something? Let's talk about pizza.
I love pizza, man.
Yeah, I'm a big pizza guy.
Lorenzo's probably one of the best places I had. I had it all over. City Pizza.
I tell you what, though.
Celebrese, I'm not a big fan.
Listen, South Philly pizza is great, of course. Celebrate. Yeah, sure.
I like it.
Tacanelli's is good. I've been there.
Yeah.
Shore pizza. It's not like it.
Manco and Manco?
No, I don't eat Manco. No.
You don't eat that? Oh,
no. There's a place on the Ocean City Boardwalk down on the Jersey Shore. Three brothers from Italy. It's the best. Any thought on the Remy Ma dish?
Yeah, there you go. That's what you're big man.
Listen, I'll tell you what. I thought Little Kim's dish was way better. She did a Black Friday dish on Nikki a couple years ago. But I've always been a big Remy Ma fan, so I personally am a big proponent. I love female rappers. I think some of them are really good. Remy Ma, Foxy Brown, Little Kim, always been big fans. Nikki's playing fake in this game. She's like a lot of these handicappers out here. She's fake in this game. Bow down to the real, to the OG.
Yes, we got some Remy Ma and we got some pizza. And by the way, Pizza Hut, is that like I worked, growing up at, any one of fast food. I mean, McDonald's, you name it. I worked at all those places. So hilarious.
Did you really?
Yeah, I worked at McDonald's 16 years old.
I
think the minimum wage back then was like $4.75. I mean, again, I'm an old head, so
I worked at a pizzeria when I was in high school. My best friend, he's from Sicily. He had a pizzeria. I worked there, but I never worked at any sort of I don't think I could ever work at a chain place like that, but Pizza Hut is horrible. That is just disgraceful.
No, I don't. Yeah, it's funny with that too. I see Pizza Hut on all the time, and I see Domino's. Now, I guess we're spoiled living where we live. Same thing like New York City. You can get a great slice of pizza at a lot of places. I don't know how this maybe in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Pizza Hut is banging, but I don't.
You imagine eating in say you lived in Cheyenne, Wyoming. You imagine eating out there? It's got to be terrible. Really. But Don, last night, right? I had because Ryan was making gnocchi, and I don't really like gnocchi just because I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big potato person, but so I usually go to this fine Italian restaurant around where I live. I got some veal with meat-filled ravioli. Red sauce was
no sausage and peppers last night for you and Ryan.
I didn't have none. And then I watched Moonlight. I watched Moonlight last night.
Yeah, you told me that.
Real late night. I'm trying to tell you guys, if you haven't seen Moonlight, make it as your first movie to watch. Really fantastic. Really good stuff.
It really moved you.
Oh, it did.
By the way, working at Pizza Hut since I was 19 years old, misorder pizzas, the best thing ever. I never had more friends when I was 16 years old working at McDonald's. And they would come up to the counter and you just fill their bag. Because back then, there's barely any. I'm talking early 90s. They didn't really track inventory or do anything like that. Best story I ever had, my friend comes in. He orders back in the day, McDonald's had breakfast burritos, right? So I put 5 or 6 in the bag. My manager walks by and he goes, I didn't order 5 of them. I only ordered 1 of them. There you go. Why don't you just get me canned on this day, my man? You got to be smarter than that.
Well, you just
hooked him up with 7 or 8 burritos. And he told me he only ordered 1. My manager, I was like, "Oh, I messed up that order by accident. I'm sorry, boss. Come on, man, trying to get me fired."
Donnie, do you like Jalen Collins?
Jalen Collins? Give me a background on Jalen
LSU?
Collins.
Jalen Collins LSU? Yeah, I feel like I know that name, but I'm trying to figure out who Jalen. I'm trying to think.
I like the question because I don't really understand it.
Pocatello, Idaho has the best McDonald's. Dude, why
would that be a reason? Why would that be a reason?
Yeah, anyway, I will admit, McDonald's soda, I haven't eaten McDonald's in some years. I know I'm a bigger guy, but I don't eat any fast food really except for cheesesteaks and stuff. I don't know what McDonald's does to their Coke, but They do something with it. Their Coca-Cola is tip top. I mean, it's
Tiny
crazy.
town where people take pride in their work. I like it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure they're just raving to make burgers every day at Pocatello, Idaho's
Jalen
McDonald's.
Collins, Atlanta Falcons. Is that what I'm looking at?
Yeah, Jalen Collins doesn't play for the Eagles, dude. Jalen Mills plays for the Eagles.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Seventh round pick. Yeah, for a seventh round pick, he's pretty good.
The Green Lantern. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he worked out well for them as a seventh round pick, but I don't.
Give me Oliver. Give me Lonzo Ball every day of the week, right there.
Nah.
Every day of the week.
Give me Markel, maybe. Give me Markel. But so it's clear Justin just wants us to keep talking about.
This is getting to know us, right? Yep. I like that we ended the show, then we started talking a little basketball, then we see live. You get some movies.
Here's what I'm going to do.
McDonald's. You got some Pizza Hut.
I'm going to talk. I'm
I like
going
Jalen Mills.
I'm going to take for 5 minutes. I'm going to take a question on whatever you want. You can ask me anything. Anything you want. Don't know if you remember me, BMOC, but I was the one talking about Maria Taylor. Yeah, that's my girl, bro. Bug the hell off.
How tall is she, by the way, too?
Oh, she's perfect, bro. She's perfect. I'll take one question, then Justin has to go. He's got to eat lunch. I could eat too, actually.
Yeah, Jeff just bought Triple B paraphernalia from the Ball
Shut
family.
the hell up.
No,
I didn't.
He's big.
No. I'll take one or two questions. Go ahead. Ask me anything. Preferably something that about non-sports betting. Because sometimes you get tired of talking about sports betting, no? You know?
Talk about some Jordans. What's your favorite series on the Jordans?
11s. That's all I wear, basically. The only Jordans I wear are 11s, 13s, occasional 10, but 11 I'm working to get every pair. So
absolutely should move to Vegas hoops. Absolutely.
Molly Querim or Maria Taylor? Definitely Maria. I like Maria.
Pika, there you go. Joe got it. Pikas. That's it.
Oh, Pikas. Yeah.
Yes, I couldn't remember the name.
Pikas Pizza. I've heard of that. Sure. Yeah, definitely Molly Querim's hot for sure. Favorite hobby? Sports betting. Other than sports betting,
smoking cigars for me. Love it.
Shit. I would probably say
like you see right the humidor right back here.
Oh no. I was wondering what that was.
Hey, look how long we went. We even went off the air.
My favorite hobby would probably be, honestly, I like watching a good TV show, but I don't know. During the summer I like to jet ski. I have a jet ski. I love the shore, anything where I can go out and, be on the beach or something like that. I know it's crazy to think that I go on the beach, but I do. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I like jumping waves with my jet ski. It's fun.
Body surfing action down there?
No, I don't go in the ocean.
Wow. Oh, come on.
No, I don't. It's
really?
big. No, I don't. It's
now, give me the reasoning behind that.
I just don't.
Sharks?
No. I jet ski. I just like to stay on my jet ski. I don't like to get off. I'll wade like in the ocean, but I wouldn't go underneath like in the water or anything. Do I play poker? Yes, that's where I got my start in gambling. Been playing poker since I was a young lad. Geno's or Pat's? Neither. I don't. Yeah, I'm not interested. Neither. Where do you go for a steak in the city?
It all depends. I mean, usually somewhere down. What's I'll actually, to be honest with you, I really like Tony Luke's down in Oregon.
See, I'm a Phillips on Passyunk, or I got to tell you, a good friend of mine, Anthony, he has a place on Juniper and Oregon Street. A new place is called Anthony's. They make a fantastic filet mignon steak. Very good. You should come down to the Bayou someday. I need some jambalaya in my life. Do you sink? No, I don't. That's funny.
That's good. I see. I like that stuff.
I wear a life jacket. I got to wear a life jacket. No, I think it's dirty. Like, I don't want to be in the ocean, And look, if I was in Bora Bora, like, definitely. But is weed legal in Vegas? I don't believe so.
It'll be soon, probably.
One more question. Both of you live in Philly. No, Donnie lives in South Jersey. Not far from Philly, though, right?
No, I'm literally 5 miles outside the city.
Yeah, and I've lived in Philly. I live just west of the city now. But I spend a lot of time down in Donnie's neck of the woods, Jersey Shore, South Jersey, all these places. I will be in Philly soon. In the next year, I want to move back to the city, get out of here for a while. But all right, guys, I guess we'll wrap it up. I think we've been on here long enough.
By the way, on Friday, a lot of talk about tournaments as they heat up. We'll get a new projection since we'll know a little bit better on our time frame on Friday. But Friday is going to be an awesome show to give a great preview on some of the conferences.
You got the weekend coming up. Also, let us know, who do you want to see on here? We'd love to add in a guest or two once in a while.
Sure. Yeah.
I have to get Paul Howard on here at some point to do that. Yes. He does that.
We could pick on. We get another guest. We could pick on. And
have you slept with more than 10 women? Yes, definitely. I've definitely probably slept with north of 50, probably. And I'm not afraid to say it.
Ooh.
Listen,
you can see when you're single, you can say that stuff. When the wife might be tuning in right now, not a good question for me.
At some point, I was the little man, but now I'm the big man, and women like the big man. They like the
Garrett wants that pick of the day. Big man Garrett wants that pick of the day again.
I told you, Garrett. Where you been? I like Wagner. Get on the Wagner Bulldogs. Where the hose at? I don't know. I haven't had any. Have you played basketball at the college level? Do I look like I played basketball at the college level? I didn't even play at the high school level. No, I was always a rooter. I rooted in the teams. But I was kicked out of games and almost barred from graduation for being kicked out. By the way, Donnie, I have to share that story sometime with you about the Jeff McClain. You know him?
Yes, I know. Yes,
he wrote a terrible article about me in high school when he was covering high school sports, and I attacked him about it in my later years. Joe Gavassi, he's more of a, I think he's more of a, I don't know if he comes on too much anymore. I haven't seen him too much. But all right, guys, I think we're going to go here. I think, Justin, you are ready to head off.
Yeah, we had a 20-minute free-for-all right there. Hey, that's what we like.
I could do this all day, to be honest with you. Wagner full game. Yes, definitely full game, minus the 4.5.
It is lunchtime.
Catch me 5 o'clock. Big Man on Campus. Ian Cameron's going to join me and Ryan. We'll talk about all the games and have some fun as well. Thanks, Donnie. We'll see you guys Friday.
Absolutely, man. Take care.